Hello, welcome back to another episode of Off the Donut. Today we're again joined by Eden from CZX. You can say hi.
Hello. There I am.
CZX, yes. CZX is an experimental pop rock project based out of Sacramento, California. Following up on the release of their last album, Noctambulant, in August of last year, the new single "Grow," off of their forthcoming album "Forever Is a Funny Feeling," is now available to stream on all platforms. The album comes out next week, July 22nd, 2022, and CDs are available for pre-order now on onlybirdrecords.limitedrun.com. How you doing today?
I'm doing great now that I'm here. This is the ossification of Off the Donut right now. This is great. I love it. I love being here.
The ossification.
Ossification.
We need to have that more often, I think. So, as you know, we always start off with our bev and snack check. I have my water as always, and a Nature Valley bar, which I will not be eating because that's all you're gonna hear if I do.
Right, that's so true. Those are so crunchy and crumbly. I brought cranberry grape juice and
Ooh.
3 stale Nutter Butters that I probably won't eat. But yeah, I just wanted to bring it because I needed something. And so yeah, needed to fulfill the snack and bev ritual.
And thus we can begin.
Mhm.
So typically I ask artists first where their band name came from, but as you've already been on the podcast before, we've discussed that already. So for the sake of it, why did you decide to call the record "Forever Is a Funny Feeling"? It's not really mentioned at all in any of the songs that I could tell, or at least explicitly, like as a lyric. So why did you feel that it fit the record best?
Right. Yeah. So I chose the name because the name comes from a short film that I was working on, and it went by the same name. It was going to be under Forever Is a Funny Feeling. Both the short film and the album like had kind of similar themes, I suppose, of like not really knowing what you want to do. And so I wanted to release them as a companion piece. But I decided against it for like time reasons, like making a short film or just any film gathering people in one space is real hard to do. And so me as a solo artist, it's much easier to just focus on the music than it was to focus on making a whole, you know, other world, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
it was going to be a short film, and maybe it still will be a short film. Who knows? But you know, it just takes a lot of time. But I just really liked the name, you know, Forever Is a Funny Feeling. Because it is kind of a goofy, silly feeling, you know, forever
Just a little silly, quirky moment, you
is a
know.
quirky kind of feeling. So yeah.
What was there like a basic plot around the short film? Also, like if you are still gonna put it out, you don't have to mention it for
Right now,
spoilers.
I'm just gonna totally spoil the whole plot. It's one of those films that's kind of style over substance, I suppose, like a film like Fallen Angels or something that's like really just very visually distinctive. It was just gonna be basic, not like an autobiography. I don't think that's even the term, just like a biography of me. But it was just going to be about somebody who likes to make music. It was going to be a whole bunch of different intercut conversations from a different one of my friends and different weird. It was like a collage, sort of like a collage of where I'm from, because I'm from Sacramento. So the only films you ever hear about Sacramento are like Lady Bird, and that's
It's
about
a good
it.
movie.
You know, it is a good movie. I love Greta
On
Gerwig.
DVD.
You know, but that's about the only film I know that's about Sacramento. I'm from here, and all the short films that are made here are all like either really shitty art films that, you know, I'm not really into, though I love really artsy fartsy shit, but or it's like really high action sci-fi shit, and so I'm not super into that. It's just a weird mess, you know. Sacramento doesn't have its own real film scene, really, you know. So I wanted to make something that was kind of pseudo documentary, pseudo something, you know, just like a feeling, like a teenage feeling as a film.
Yeah.
But yeah, it might still come out, so keep your ears peeled.
I think it's the other way around for this one.
Your eyes peeled, your ears in tune. Right.
Yeah. Ears locked. Who locked and loaded? Who who did the cover art for the record? Was there any sort of direction that you gave for how you wanted it to look, or did they kind of just freeball it? And with that, how do you feel that it relates to the rest of the music?
Right. I feel like the cover came last after I made all of the songs except for the slowdown was the only song I made after. That's the 9-minute one. The album's not out yet, so I don't know if people will, or maybe it will be out. Honestly, I don't know. But
I think this will be coming out the week before the record. So
right. Okay. So yes, the record has not come out yet. Super secret, but there is a 9-minute long song on there. Um, and so for the album cover, it's done by my friend. He's a really talented 3D artist named Connor Crawford. A friend of mine, and he does all of his stuff in Blender. So I just sent him a reference image of this like top-down view of like a low poly PS2 horror game that I liked, and I thought looked cool. And he remade it for me, but in like a slightly different style. And there's a TV on the cover and a tree in the back that I told him to add. I guess the way that I think it related to the cover is that I wanted something like kind of dark and uncanny, because the last cover was so bright and weird and surrealist that I wanted to have this one be a bit darker. And I think the lyrics on this one are a bit darker than the last one, like more depressive themes in that way. So I decided to go with that. And Connor's such a good artist. Like, this is not even like maybe 5% of his ability went into this album cover. He does all these complicated skin textures and shit. And I was just like, I just want like a dude, and I just want like some grass. Like that's
and like
all
some
I
stars and
really
shit,
want. Right. No, like I used to know how to use Blender for little shitty animations and stuff in school, but I never got that into it. But he is so into it, and so it was great to have his help. And I love doing visual art, but I'm just not very good at it. So I like to enlist the help of people who can help me with it, like with the last one and with this one. So yeah, Connor Crawford, I think he goes by Jerry, not Connor, on Instagram. I have no idea why that name, but he's really cool and he does commissions. So that's sick as fuck.
Great. Yeah, very cool. I feel like there is still kind of like a surrealist element to it, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah, no, it's still a weird cover. I'm never gonna sell out and make a cool just like my face on a cover. I'm never gonna do that. That shit is so lame. I'm sorry to anyone who I really like who's done that, but like,
you ever seen the cover for Vince Staples' self-titled record? Because it's like just his face, but it's like this.
Oh right, yeah. I don't know.
Cover.
I really just don't think. I don't know. I think it's kind of boring, especially if the album is like really, really good. Then I'm like, man, I don't want to stare at this person's face. I can just watch a live video of this person,
I think it made sense for that because it was his self-titled and everything.
Right.
And being that his name is Vince Staples, but I also just think it's funny because it's just like right there.
Right.
So yeah, you're really looking at it,
staring at you like
in your soul.
Yeah.
So kind of on that note of surrealism, there is a lot of, from what I got, a sort of like almost unbothered surrealism laden throughout the lyrics. Just to rattle off a couple lyrics, in Sugar Pill, there's the line, "I'm sitting in the edge of the earth looking down. It's a long, long drop until we find out if it's real." On Grow, one of the last lines, "I cut myself and take my pills. I tilt my head and nothing's real." That I think also kind of coincides with the mention of various drug usage throughout the record. One of my other favorite lyrics, especially the delivery of them, is at the beginning of the second verse of Grow, where you're like, "Hey, are you okay?" "No, fuck, I'm too high." Right. Which is just wonderful. Do you think there's a relationship there between those two themes? How do you think some of that medication and drug usage alters our sense of what is to be expected further, and from that further seems to dull the reaction when those expectations are subverted and again venture into the surreal?
Yeah. In regards to like Sugar Pill, I think it's a pretty, like, the word sugar pill is a pretty apt description for medication. The first line is just talking about like depression and hopelessness in like a surrealist sense, the image of the world like not being real or whatever, or like not knowing if it's real. And just like falling forever is something that's very palpable to me because I dissociate all the time. But like, so as far as the line in Grow, I was more poking fun at myself for like falling into a routine like the I cut myself, I take my pills, I tilt my head and nothing's real. For just like taking pills and feeling bad and doing bad things. Just kind of wishing that everything was gone, that last line of I tilt my head and nothing's real. Yeah. I feel like the feeling of getting high and not being able to comprehend anything like just plays a huge part in my music, because that's where all my weird words come from, I suppose, are in that one dimension between too high and like scariness. So I think drugs do play a huge part in my music, not only in a song like Grow, which is like about a drug trip that is like something I personally experienced, but like because the whole song is autobiographical in nature. I just wrote what I felt, but also in like the creation of my ideas, my past experiences with drugs have made me the person who I am. And, they give me some good writing material, I suppose. Though I've only ever done a handful of different, like alcohol and nicotine and weed, but that's about the extent of it. But I've had some pretty fucking crazy shit happen to me. So I just write it all in my weird surrealist songs, and it works out pretty well for me, I suppose. Yeah.
I always, well, I don't always ask this to people, but I think it's funny. Do you ever smoke and then like a couple minutes after you're like starting to feel it, just like are suddenly conscious of yourself? Because for me, like a lot of times what'll happen is I will smoke and then I'll be like, oh shit, I'm here. And everything that happened like over the course of the day beforehand just like doesn't exist.
Right. No, it is. Sometimes it can be a little scary. It just depends like who I'm with. I find if I'm around very like stressful people, I'll probably have a bad trip. But like if I'm around people who are chill, like I got very high yesterday before I did this, and and I was just having the greatest time sitting in a hammock listening to Wunderbar, and just laying in my hammock, because they have a hammock in their backyard that just looks at the trees, and it was so beautiful. But like then I had to go home, and so I'm like, oh man. And then I just started being like, oh, I can feel my body, I can feel how hot I am, like weird shit like that. I just started thinking of dumbest shit. And so yeah, but
yeah. It's a fun time. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So there's also a lot of juxtaposition, excuse me, as well between feelings of cold and warmth in the record. Obviously with warmth typically representing comfort, you nonetheless specifically call for the opposite. On House, there's the line, I wish I lived in Portland where it's constantly cold. On Naomi, there's hide the match that has been burning in the cold. On Grow, there's I'm dying to feel the cold, something other than warmth. Can you talk a little bit more about
that? So I live in California, which it's just way too fucking hot here. Over the past week, we've had like 4 days where it was over 100, and it was miserable. It's miserable to live here. So I've always wanted to live in a cool climate. I guess Portland came up because I was just thinking of the first place where a lot of gay people are and a lot of coldness is. So I was like, okay, Portland. So yeah, when I'm talking about it, I'm literally just talking about hot or cold, or I mean, I guess wanting it to like rain and stuff. And in the case of Grow, when I'm like, fuck, I'm forgetting my own lyrics. I'm dying to feel the cold, something other than warmth. During my really bad trip I had, I was so hot because I was running all over the place like a crazy person, and there was like a river near us, and I really wanted to swim in it. Like I really did, but I knew I couldn't do it. So I just really wanted to be cold as hell. But yeah, no, besides that, I'm just talking about burning alive in California. It's a hard time over here. Send water. It's a lot. So yeah.
That's fair. Um,
Mhm.
so Naomi ends with the phrase "You grow and you know," which is also the chorus of "Grow," and yet they're also separated by that interlude of Nova Holka. Can you
Mhm.
talk a little bit more about the placement of the interlude there? Why you might have thought it connected the songs, and also where the vocal sample in it comes from and why you felt it fit the best?
Right. So Naomi, yeah, it ends with the phrase "You grow and you know," which is the chorus of "Grow," and yet they're separated by Nova Holka, but Nova Holka and Grow are technically like the same song. I mean, like I made them in the same project file. They have the same BPM, all the same plugins on all the stuff. Um, but that line, the like "You grow and you know," um, it was actually kind of like a throwaway line that I've had for a while, because Naomi was one of the first songs I got done for the album. I sat with that song for a really long time, and when it came around to make Grow, which was like the second to last song I made,
Mhm.
um I wanted to use that line because it had grown fond on me. I was like, okay, I'll use
It
it.
had grown.
It had grown onto me. I was actually going to get rid of the line in fuck, I'm so
Naomi.
I know in Naomi. I was gonna get rid of that line so people wouldn't be like, "Oh, you're reusing lines." But I do the same thing in the 9 minute long song when I say, "Where did I go wrong?" in a certain part as a callback to "Where did I go wrong?" which is I think the third track.
Yeah.
Um, so that lyric, I'm pretty sure, and if I'm not pretty well, I am pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it comes from a Weather Day song, but then again, I
Oh,
can I
I
can
just saw
barely
them.
right. I think it comes from Older Than Before, uh, which is like the second song on Come In. Uh, I think it comes from that song. Like I didn't mean to rip it off, but I was just jamming on the song, and I'm like, that sounds cool. Um, and it's not a huge part of Older Than Before anyway, but it's just I really liked the way that it sounded. You grow and it kind of fits with the theme of the record as well, of growing up, getting older. So um yeah, that's why. And the vocal sample from Nova Hoka, um I the way that I find samples or like obscure shit on the internet, I'll just type in whatever and then I'll sort it by the newest or whatever, or within the past week on YouTube. And there was this video of this girl who, like, she does these daily mental health, I guess, checks, and she was doing one, and I just thought it sounded really nice. I don't know why. I was listening to her talk, and I could listen to her talk for hours, and I commented under the video like, "Hey, I really love this video. Would you mind if I use this in one of my songs?" And they got back to me and they were like, "Sure." And so now I just have this random girl who, I mean, the video probably only has maybe like 15 or so views, but it's in my album because I resonated with it. So
Hmm,
yeah.
very nice. Do you remember who they were or what the channel was at all?
I'd have to really look back. I kind of forget, but yeah.
God, and they let you use it in the song too. That's so fake.
Right. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
um, so another thing that I see crop up pretty fairly is almost this sort of sense of denial of complacency and nostalgia. There's lines like, "I tell you all my secrets and you laugh at me. It's fine. No, it's fine. I like it. It's fine." In House,
Mhm.
only to be followed up with the phrase, "All I want is you." And I see the rose in front of your house. You don't live there anymore, but it's yours. It's still your house in my mind.
Mhm.
On Red Light, Red, Yellow, Green Light, there's the line, "And you're drowning in love of a person who's already dead to you. I'm not angry at all."
Mhm.
Or, "I was burning bridges around you. You were burning bridges around me. We are burning bridges on unknown." Um, I have more, but you get the point.
Right. Yeah.
Why do you think these emotions seem to always accompany each other? The denial, complacency, and nostalgia. And how do you think writing about them helps to deal with that confusion?
I I just complain so much, but it makes its way into my music. Um, like the line in House of "I tell you all my secrets and you laugh at me." One of my friends, when I talked to her, I can talk to her about anything. I can tell her anything, and sometimes I'll tell her really deep, dark, personal stuff, and she will just laugh with it, and it makes me laugh. And so I do genuinely think it's very comforting, because most of the time people will just be like, "Oh, it's fine. It's gonna get better. Everything's gonna be okay." But when somebody just like laughs at your face when you tell them like your deepest secret, it is very, very like humbling, I suppose.
Mm,
But a lot of the other lines, you know, you're in love with somebody who's already dead to you. That line was just really angry and bitter. So even the "I'm not angry at all" is false as hell, because
yeah,
I
yeah.
was angry. It just happens a lot, you know. I make songs where I say the opposite of what I'm thinking. Um, for the most part, I don't, the nostalgia part of it, I think, comes partially from the instrumentals, though. I think my music is quite nostalgic, but I don't know. It feels like these melodies that I've been writing have been with me my whole life, and so when I put them in song, um, that's actually another lyric I'm thinking of the "I'm too scared to talk, so I put it in song, and I'm sore from the show, and I wish that I was never born." Um, because I sometimes I literally don't know how to tell my friends stuff, and I literally just put it in song, and it's, I don't know, it's a problem, man. I got to start communicating, but it makes good music, because I heard
Artistic
I
expression.
can't remember if it was Will Toledo or one of the other fucking sad people who make music, but I think it was like, if you make a line more specific, it becomes more personal to people, you know. So, and I just juxtapose a lot of shit. I'll put like a lyric of really loving someone, putting a lyric right next to really hating someone, or just something completely different, like a non sequitur. It's just my writing style. I don't even think about my writing style ever, but it just comes out in a way. I suppose I've created my own style of writing. Not to be too pretentious here.
You're just built different.
Right, I'm fucking built different. I came out the womb writing shit like this. I've
Fucking
in
Mozart in
preschool.
this bitch.
No, I take my preschool notes and I put them in my songs, and shit just comes out, man. It's great. Yeah. So yeah.
um, very cool. So, kind of on a similar note with that, was recording and writing this album any different than your previous projects? I feel
Mhm.
like I feel like there's a lot more gang vocal layering throughout it. And there are all other smaller things here and there, like the synths on Red, Yellow, Green Light, for example, which is also one of my favorite songs. It's really nice to drive to.
Right. This album was pretty much recorded the same way that the last one was, except for I got way better at mixing, I think. I feel like the mixes on Noctambulant are very mono, like they're not very wide, is what I think. Like they kind of sound compressed and small. This one, I feel like I learned how to pan my vocals correctly, and I learned how to pan my instruments and balance stuff. Um, but I recorded, you know, for most of the drum parts, the ones that aren't synthetic drums, I suppose the synthetic drums are on like uh Unknown, and on shit on ones that are like man, I can't remember my own song. Hold on. Oh, it's the Slowdown. The Slowdown is very, those are like fake and real drums. And as well as I think with probably Red, Yellow, Green Light, those aren't real drums, or maybe they are real and fake. I like to kind of mix them, because fake drums are so solid, you know, like they're always in like the middle, or sometimes they'll be a little bit panned. But then, you know, when I record my drums, I do it on my 8-track, which is really, really wide, because I have enough microphones to record it with.
Yeah.
Uh, and guitars, I pretty much always record, and I know this isn't the best way of doing it, but I almost always record it just miking my amp. But I have a very noisy room, so I have to put it very close, and there's a lot of noise in the background. So I think I have this weird middle fi, you know, like I'm not really exactly hi-fi, and I'm not exactly super lo-fi either. I'm
Mhm.
just right in the middle. And that's how I've always kind of recorded things. But when it comes to like the most serious stuff, I will be sweating my ass off in this room, because I have to turn off the AC, I have to turn off the
Yeah,
fan, I have to turn off
yeah.
everything that makes noise so I can record stuff. As for with my other music, I don't give a shit. I leave that on. I use my webcam microphone as a fucking mic, like I throw all that shit out the window. But no, for oh shit, for this album it was
There
pretty
it
much
goes.
more of the same. Yeah.
Hmm.
How do you record your stuff? Do you have a specific way of recording your things
Like this, or for like my band?
for your band?
It's like a mix of stuff. My for the EP that we put out, and for like the Dreaming of Oceans double single, my other guitarist Jason has like a bunch of recording equipment in his basement. So like we did that stuff. For the album, we used that to put together like demos of the tracks and stuff. And then we ended up going to like a studio in New Jersey. It's called Mount Moon.
Wow, that's crazy. Going to a real studio. That's
yeah,
like,
right.
I mean, I hope to.
It was
to that
fucking
point eventually.
expensive, but like,
Yeah, I believe it. No, some stuff around here, it's like, oh, $800 for like 5 hours, and it's like, no, man, I'm sorry. Anyway,
yeah.
sorry, I didn't mean
No,
to
you're
derail
fine.
the whole interview.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We were there for like 10 or 11 days. And we got to work with the guy that owns it. His name is Justin Kaleke, and he's a wonderful, wonderful man.
Yeah.
So, but otherwise it's just like basically in Jason's basement.
Yeah.
So my last question is, there's also some inclusion of French, or what I assumed to be French, on a couple songs. There's Côte d'Ivoire on Grow and Jean Pebble on Father God. Why did you decide to include these phrases as opposed to English or just like in other languages?
Right. So you were correct with the first one. Côte d'Ivoire is a French one, but the second one, Je ne vohe, is actually from Czech, because I speak Czech. That's my native language.
Yes.
But Je ne vohe, which is technically wrong, but I kept it in because it had enough syllables. It means because of our Father God is what it means. And so that's why the song's called Father God, as kind of a way of doing that. But for Côte d'Ivoire, I suppose that was autobiographical, because that was from or not autobiographical. I keep saying that word because it's fun. But from Grow,
you used it right earlier.
I did. Oh my god! I'm
yeah,
so
when you were
smart.
talking about the film.
Yeah.
Well, you used it right, and then you corrected yourself and said it wasn't. So
because I don't know which one's right. But for Grow, I remember I was repeating that phrase to myself. When I was very, very high, I was out of my body. I was trying to get back into my body. So I was saying things that I would know. So I was speaking French and I was speaking Czech. I was just saying these words over and over again. I think in the last sort of verse of Grow, when I'm like, I'm like, if I was, what would I do if I was him? If I could walk, if I could swim, if I could fly, you couldn't talk. My colors blend, Côte d'Ivoire, my lungs of tin. Like, I'm just saying these things that I was thinking, lungs of tin being like, I literally felt like garbage. But like the other things, like I just wanted to like do all these things. Côte d'Ivoire was just one of the things I remembered from that, and it rhymed perfectly well. So yeah, that's just how that ended up. Even my drug trips rhyme. It's just, I'm such a musical person.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Again, you're just built different.
No, I was born to make this album, I suppose. But yeah. But that's how that came about. I love using different languages in my songs. Just depending on, like, I have my own side project where I only speak Czech, and it's called CHB. It's called well, it used to stand for Christian Hardcore Band because I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
But now it stands for Czech Heiselbaba. Heiselbabas are those it's in Europe. It's not really here, obviously, because it's fucking creepy, but they have grandmas who sit in little bathrooms, and they sit there so you don't vandalize the stuff, like, so you're like good. And it's a full-time job. Like they pay older people to just sit in bathrooms, and they're called Heiselbabas. And it's not a very respected job, let's be honest. Like, not many people are too inclined, and sometimes you actually have to tip them too. Like you'll give them like a quarter or something, like, oh, thanks for watching. It's such a weird
Thanks for
cultural
watching.
difference.
Like
Yeah.
in the stall or just in the bathroom?
No. They're like standing out by like where you wash your sinks and stuff, or like
Okay,
where the
okay.
sinks are. They'll like stand there,
Gonna hold your hand too.
Yeah, no, they'll hold your hand and pat you on the back or something. It's like it's like
Rub
good
your
job for
stomach
not
like and call me
vandalizing.
by your name.
Yeah. It's so uh now I call it Czech Heiselbaba as like a, I actually I'm not entirely sure if they actually have it in the Czech Republic. I'm pretty sure it's mostly in Germany, but
Mm,
still weird shit.
that's not the
Um
point.
that's not really the point. Sorry, I got completely derailed. But I love speaking different languages because English is so boring to me. It's so normal to me. I love speaking other things and creating new, different linguistic sort of uh, songs out of it. I don't know. It's great.
So as I said, those are all the questions that I have for you. So this is any
Mhm.
time for that you would like to plug any other social media, any other links or merch or other projects that you have been working on that people can find you on.
Mhm. Well, my main project is czxxxx with 5 X's. Um, the unpronounceable name. And I go by Eden's, like EDYNNS on Spotify. If you want to hear any of my other solo work, and on Bandcamp, I go by Chinchilla Records. It's like chinchilla, but with a ER. So yeah, that's about it. I mean, I don't really use any of the other ones besides Instagram, but that's personal, so no one can have that. But I'm just kidding. I'm totally joking. It's just Eden, or Eden's, same spelling as the Spotify one. But anyway, that's all I got. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So as we mentioned, the album Forever is a Funny Feeling is coming out. Sorry, I think someone just opened my door, so I like lost my train
Oh,
of
it's
thought.
okay.
Um,
It's no problem.
Forever is a Funny Feeling is coming out next week. You can pre-order it on CD now. They look clean as fuck.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and will be shipped to you whenever you order it. So, if you haven't already, the first single off the record called Grow is already out. It's not 9 minutes. I think it's like 4 to 6
Four, probably four. If
in
you
that
count
range.
Nova Holka, which comes out on the album, it's like a 6 minute song, but it's more like four. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's good. So,
it's
do yourself a
good.
favor.
Listen to it. Thank you. Yeah.
Exactly. Cool. Otherwise, thank you for joining me. As
Mhm.
always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah. Goodbye, YouTube.